computer? Yes. So hello, everyone, and welcome to Digital Literacy 101. This is our final webinar that we're going to be going forward with right now. For those of you who have just joined, like I said, we are going to be going over how to boost and advertise on Instagram and Facebook. Also, we're going to be diving into a very in-depth exercise with our infinity list, which is going to be very, very helpful for each and every single one of you. So like I said, hi, Vicky, if you guys have any questions or want to say hi or ask anything, the chat is open and available right in the middle, located right beside the participant section on the screen. So if you have any questions over the course of the webinar, please feel free to post it alongside there and we will answer them over the course of the webinar. So for those of you, I'm pretty sure this is a very familiar group. I think we know almost everyone here. My name is Matt Anthony. I'm one of the Digital Service Squad coordinators here with the Small Business Enterprise Center, and I'm also the owner of the talent management company and creative marketing agency known as Invitco. And I am super honored and super proud to be instructing this webinar with each and every single one of you. Hi, Gary. Welcome, Gary. Welcome to Digital Literacy 101. I'm very happy to have you here. Okay, awesome. And joined today, I am joined by Umberto Campana, my colleague here and creative collaborator in various ways, and we cannot wait to get started. So I'm going to share my screen, and then we are going to jump right into the webinar. And Gary, since you just joined, if you have any questions over the course of the webinar, you can feel free to ask any sort of questions in the chat, which is located right beside the participant screen at the bottom left-hand corner of your screen, and we will gladly go from there. Okay, let's dive into it. I'm just going to share my screen, and here we go. Okay, great. Can you see it okay? Perfect. Okay, great, everyone. Okay, so we made it. For those of you who have been here through the whole time, thank you so much for sticking around to all three info sessions. I definitely think this is something that we're going to continue on in the future. And if you have any questions over the course of the webinar, please feel free to post it in the chat. And welcome to How to Boost and Advertise on Social Media. So what we're going to discuss today is we're going to go how to make a boosted post with only 20% text. 20% text on all sort of boosted or creative content, visual content, or audio content, or video content is absolutely essential when it comes to making an effective boosted post. We're also going to dive into how to target your audience with an infinity list, which is what I said earlier. And we're also going to explain how to boost and promote on Facebook and how to advertise within the ads manager account, because an often misconception that is being said is that boosting and advertising on Instagram and Facebook are two very different entities. Boosting is, say for example, and we're going to dive into this more specific in the over the course of the webinar, but a boost is a presented post that is on your timeline, and there is an actual option that says to boost the post for it to reach more people either on your Instagram or Facebook timeline, or both. And we'll show you how to link your account so you can maximize the biggest bang for your buck with that. And then also Umberto is going to dive in on how to utilize your ads manager. And ads manager is the place where we actually go in to make a full in-depth creative ad with boosting very specific audience needs. And the infinity list is going to play a major role in both of these aspects. Okay, so let's dive right into it, shall we? So how to boost a post on Instagram and Facebook. So what is our first step? What does the creative look like? And what is our objective? First of all, there's a couple things to keep in mind when doing a boost on Instagram or Facebook, and that is what I first alluded to, is you want to make sure that your creative or your visual has only 20% text within the boost. So our first step is you want to make sure your video, graphic, your photo is simple and it only has 20% text. Now, does anyone know the reason why we want And you can post in the chat, or you can feel free to unmute your mics and ask or answer, is why do you think it's important to have your graphic only have 20% text?
I think I know, Anth.
Yep.
I think it's because if you put too much text, you're going to lose your audience, because not a lot of people, are not going to, like, are going to want to, like, read the whole thing, right? So, but you want to keep it short and simple, right? Right. It's like a thesis statement, right?
That's a very good point. And yeah, absolutely. That's a very good answer for sure. That is definitely part of it. The reason why you want to keep your text very, very simple and less than 20% of the overall graphic, and we'll provide a case study below, is the more text that is the more text that is implemented on the actual image, the less reach it is going to do within your post. So if you were to boost your post or advertise your post and it only has 20 to sorry, I just got a little distracted there. If your post has more than 20%, it's not going to reach the most amount of people within the reason being for that is because Facebook has this thing called a Facebook edge, and the more text that is eaten up within a photo or like a moving motion asset, the less effective it's going to be, because Facebook and Instagram really thrive on just clean and simple visuals. Having something that just like the title or the address or like a movie poster with the text being very small, those are bound to do a lot more effectively, as opposed to a graphic that has just cluttered with a bunch of text. So Anthony, great job on that. Secondly, you want to make sure your creative is enticing and captivating. So you want to make sure that whatever it is that you're posting is true to based on whatever the call to action you want to be for your audience. So if, say, for example, we want to design a rock and roll show poster, and I've done this plenty of times with bands that I've played with in the past, and myself and bands and artists that I manage. What you want to do is you want to make sure that the actual visual graphic of it is so incredibly captivating that the text is just going to be the added bonus and like the detail section with that. So it's very important that you keep your creative and your graphic super, super enticing. And thirdly, your objective should be clear for what your audience call to action to be. So if you want them to register for an online event that you're doing, if you want them to come to a show, make sure you include the who, what, when, where, why. When is the event? How long is it going to be? Is it going to be free? What's the address of it? That's just one example. If you want to bring them to an event, if you are encouraging your audience or your followers to go to your website, you want to say click here, like maybe something as simple as like click the link below in the caption, or visit our website at www.mamasboys.com or mamasboys.ca to go ahead and fulfill whatever your call to action is. So those are just some examples when it comes to that. So here is actually a case study here below. So if you notice here with the logo in the bottom right, sorry, it would be my bottom right corner here, you notice that the graphic is very, very clean. The images are coming up just a little bit blurry here, so I apologize for that. And if you notice that the graphic here says 20% off produce, with all of this text right here, if this is something that was going to get posted, it wouldn't be the most effective. So a grocery store that's a little different, 20% off product this weekend, local produce from local farmers market, freshly picked, like that is just way too much information and an information overload. Like that is not going to do well when it comes to doing any sort of boosted post on Facebook and Instagram. So just to keep an example, if you look comparison to the one that's on the left-hand side, where it's just the logo in the bottom right-hand corner with letting everything kind of speak for itself with just the images, and the caption actually talks about what is actually written in the right-hand picture of, fresh local produce from local farms available, freshly picked organically. Stop in on the weekend to receive 20% off all fresh produce, but blah, 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 so on and so forth. A post like that is bound to do astronomically better than the one that's provided on the right-hand side. So just keep in mind, whenever you're looking to do a post or to do a boost or to advertise, you want to make sure that your visual text is extremely, extremely limited. Do we have any questions in the chat right now, Umberto?
No, nothing on that note.
Okay, I'm just gonna, okay, awesome. Perfect, perfect. Okay, great. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this is what we're going to do now. So please grab a pen and paper right now if you can, or we're going to take the next 5 to 10 minutes or so. Oh, Stephen is just joining us. We're going to take the next 5 to 10 minutes or so making an infinity list. So an infinity list, for those of you who don't know, or if you weren't involved in the last webinar, it's a list of 25 brands, 25 brands that make up your most idealistic consumer of your product or your service. So so if you have any questions, you can feel free to ask in the chat, or you can ask away right here. But we're gonna leave you all with about 5 to 10 minutes or so to actually make an infinity list right now, at least to get it started, to get your creativity kind of opening up. Because we, as marketers, what Umberto and I do is we put ourselves in the mind. It's a topic called reverse engineering, or exercise called reverse engineering, where you're putting yourself in the mind of your most idealistic consumer, and you're understanding their human behavior, their human patterns, their thought process, what they think about, how they think about things. And this exercise is going to play a vital role when it comes to boosting and making a proper Facebook or an Instagram ad. So I'm going to leave you all right now to take 5 to 10 minutes. We'll revisit the chat, say between around 125-ish or so. We'll check in with everyone if you want to make your infinity list, and we'll be here to answer any sort of questions. If you want help with your infinity list, we will gladly facilitate and help you with that. So again, infinity list, 25 brands that make up your most idealistic consumer and what they like for either your business or your product. So we'll go ahead and we'll leave that with you right now.
I think something that might help too is if you just flip to the next slide, they can reference how to kind of do that.
Yeah, for sure. So then we'll leave this up to for steps of creation. So to put yourself in the most idealistic form for your customer, make a list of the 25 brands, and you can save this on either your Google Doc, Notes, Word, your phone, paper, whatever that may be. So we'll go ahead and we'll check in with you in the next 7 minutes or so. And if you have any questions, please feel free to just ask, or you can ask away in the chat. Both, Steve. When you say brands, are you saying my competitors? Yeah, any brand that you feel like relates to your own company. These are the brands that tell their story. The way that they post online is the way they carry themselves. Yes, absolutely. Can be either one.
I think this is a really great practice and tool. Matt actually is the one that put me on to the infinity list and showed me the ropes with it. And since then, we've thought it's just such a great practice in putting yourself in the right mindset to build your brand, that we've just told as many people as we can about it, because we really do believe in it as a good little practice. You know, a lot of the time with creating your brand and marketing, there isn't much room for self-reflection and like these practices or these techniques that you can do for yourself to better understand your brand and your company. So this is one of the best ones out there, just to get the ball rolling, and then it oftentimes spurs your mind into thinking in different ways about your company, or gives you different ideas for your brand that you might pull from other companies or other places online. So yeah, we really like this practice, and we've done it multiple times for our own businesses and for other shared ventures that Matt and I have started together.
Yep, absolutely. Couldn't agree more. So yeah, we'll just leave you guys with a few more minutes with that, and then we'll revisit it. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask, and we'll go from there. And also, if we have a brave volunteer that wants to share their Infinity list with us, just to kind of open up the perspective for everyone else in the room, that would also be great too. So maybe we can, if someone wants to share, that'd be fantastic as well. And we can also help with another brainstorm session too as well. For about another 3 or 4 minutes, and then we'll pick things up again. Okay, so we're at 125 right now. Do we have a volunteer who might be interested in explaining who they are and what their business is, and then maybe just to give us some examples of what's on their Infinity list to kind of help better paint the picture for anyone? So do we have any volunteers by chance? If so, just please feel free to unmute yourself and just go ahead. No volunteers for now. Uh-oh, no one wants to volunteer. That's okay. That's okay if no one wants to volunteer. We understand we don't expect you to have the entire list done because it does take a few minutes and a little while to really put yourself in the mindset of the psyche of your own clientele with that. But if you do feel like sharing and you want to and you want to share with the rest of the group at some time, please feel free to jump into the chat and say, hey, Matt, I would love a chance to speak, and go from there.
Actually, I would. It's Gary here.
Yes, Gary, let's go. Awesome.
Yeah. So we're a meditation center.
Nice.
And
from Niagara Falls?
Yeah. Well, in the Niagara region. Yes. For all of the Niagara region, meditation in Niagara. Great. And to tell you the truth, this is really the first time I'm trying to turn my mind around other brands like this, and what our consumers are looking for, that sort of thing. So this is really just the beginning for me, but it's really allowed me now to really jump in and start thinking about that, and to try to be able to capture our audience, our people that would like to come to our meditation classes, now of course online, but eventually in person again. So I know, I mean, there are, for example, in terms of brands, there are I've only really come up with 6 just looking on the internet so far.
Perfect.
And so I know there is, for example, something called the Wave platform. It's like meditation music. Like all 6 of these, I'm going to mention are huge. Like they're in the $1 billion range and stuff like that. Like many hundreds of millions or billion. Like, so Wave platform, meditation music while you're doing your daily activities.
Absolutely.
So that's really good. Headspace is a really big thing too. Many people might have heard of that. Calm started out as a meditation app, but it's now including everything about wellness and fitness and everything like that. And so, of course, our customers, it's hard for me to call our customers, let's call them students. Our students of meditation, they of course are interested in many other things besides meditation, all around wellness and fitness and so forth. So we need to turn our mind towards that, to include meditation in their ideas, their thoughts for that. So Calm, Maya, it's electronic music for meditation kind of thing, like more gentle but electronic. For meditation, for sleep, for concentration, for relaxation. They're a really huge, a huge platform as well for that sort of thing. Of course, there's this idea of, people want to improve their sleep. They want to improve their concentration, and they're going to other brands, other companies, other platforms and apps and so forth to help with that and to relax. That whole idea of relaxation is huge. Another brand is Moshi. Moshi is it's mindful meditation, and it's a mindful meditation and sleep app for children. And normally we don't really direct anything towards children, but there are, like, in the organization we're part of, which is worldwide, there are many larger centers that have meditation for children. We're not quite big enough yet. We're just a branch of a Hamilton center. Meditation for children. And so this app is very very interesting regarding that. And the people that are looking for something for their children. And
absolutely.
And another one is Metatofia. Never heard of that myself, but it's a mental wellness platform as well. Mindfulness meditation, sleep meditation, music, and so forth. And they're quite large too. I think I read somewhere. This might be another one in that $1 billion range. Like, these things are huge worldwide and so forth. So those are the 6 that I've seen so far, and it's certainly opening my eyes, to, what I might need, who I might need to be targeting.
Absolutely. And Gary, thank you so much for sharing with everyone with your reverse engineering process there. That's really fantastic. So thank you for that. And the whole point of this exercise is to do exactly that, is to put yourself in the mindset of your consumer, not just what you think your consumer is going to like. Actually put yourself in the mindset of who that consumer is, and then what do they like to do. Maybe and Gary hit the nail right on the head with exactly who his demographic is. And then you can even go ahead and break that down so in depth of like, okay, well, maybe within Gary's meditation field, even though Gary, I don't know too much about your business, but we can gladly book a one-on-one consultation afterwards if you would like to know more about, how to actually like implement your infinity list. We would have no problem facilitating that with you or anyone else in this chat. We would love to help anyone else who is willing to take an interest in that. And so with that being said, it is truly a phenomenal exercise, and you can break it down as specific as like how old your audience is. So say if Gary's meditation students are young adults, ages 20 to 25, maybe predominantly women, where are they currently in association with other brands? Where else are they looking to consume similar consumer behavior that's also with meditation? Maybe they're also vegan, maybe they're taking interest in any sort of art, maybe they're into retreat wellnesses, and figure out the certain brands that are aligned within those industries, and really the sky's the limit for that. So next we're going to break it down into how to utilize the infinity list within Instagram itself. So everyone has probably seen when you go on your Instagram account, and it's very important. We did not write this down here, but important note, make sure your Instagram account is set up as a professional business account. That is step number one, because without that, you will not be able to promote or view your insights. So it's important that you hit the option to become a business account, and it doesn't take long at all. It literally takes a matter of 30 seconds or so. Steve Wilson and I did it the other day, and it went over very, very easily. So that's the first step you want to do, just for advertising purposes. You just want to make sure that your Instagram account is set up as a professional account. So how to utilize now the infinity list within Facebook, and then we're going to go into with Instagram, and then we're going to go into Facebook. So in the promote section here, is going to give you the following options. One, you'll be able to set a goal. So do you want people to have more visits to your Instagram profile? Do you want people to go to your website, or do you want people to send you more messages? This is how you promote on Instagram. So say if you wanted to click, more profile visits, your audience right here, this is where the infinity list comes into play. You can either use an automatic audience that Instagram will generate for you, or you get to create your own based on what you think is your most idealistic consumer. And then this is where the infinity list comes into play. So I would recommend 9 times out of 10, and you can play around with it just to see how certain ads do in different capacities, which is utilizing the automatic option, because Instagram's algorithm will just target people who they think might consume with your content. But with the infinity list, is you want to hit create your own, and then within create your own, it's going to go to this audience, which is create an audience. So you name your audience name, you hit locations. So based on wherever the geographical location of your most idealistic consumers are, or where you think they might be, depending on the scope and overall spec of your business. Next is your interest. And with the infinity list now, this is where you're going to put those 25 brands, because now you put yourself in the mindset of your most idealistic consumer. You're then taking those brands and putting them into the interest section of your ad. And then from there, like you just utilizing the hypothetical situation with Gary, but if Gary's primary audience is mostly female between 20 to 25 years old or 20 to 30 years old, then he would set the gender and the age here, ages 20 to 30, with the interests, with your infinity list exercise and the geographical location. When I say this makes a massive difference by taking the proper time to reverse engineer and put yourself in the mindset of your consumer, it works absolute wonders. And by the time that you do your 5th or 6th ad, that audience should be so well defined that they should just be keep coming and coming and coming in terms of engaging with your content. The tricky part is with Instagram and Facebook is you're going to have to sometimes tweak or adjust your audience based on if you're not seeing those engagement numbers as fast as you can. Keep in mind, the whole social media marketing game is a matter of trial and error in some capacity, and you have to be able to be willing to change certain things as you go based on how receptive your content is going to be. So that's that for Instagram. So I would definitely keep your infinity list handy. I keep mine on my notepad, or and in Google Docs too as well. So that's just something to keep in mind. Okay, so next we're gonna do the same thing, but for Facebook. So here when he says to boost a post, this is to boost a post right here on Facebook. Also with Instagram, this is just for boosting. This isn't advertising. Keep in mind, we haven't dove into the ads manager part yet, and that's where Umberto is going to come into play with that. So scrolling down now to Facebook and utilizing a boosted post. So it's very similar to Facebook and Instagram. So what you can do is you can actually link, remember what we said in our first webinar, is you can actually link your Facebook and your Instagram account together to boost a post, and you can boost your post just from Facebook if you wanted to. If your Facebook and Instagram are connected, the boosted post on Facebook will also reach on Instagram as well. Only if your Facebook and Instagram account are connected. If your Facebook and Instagram account are not connected, then you will have to do them both separately. The boosting is what I'm referring to. Okay, so scrolling down, so this is what a boosted post looks like on Facebook. Excuse me. So what you can do right now is you can create your goal, which is to get more engagement, more messages, or more calls. So what is your call to action? Again, these are terms that are reoccurring through over the course of the webinars. You want to make sure that you include like your call to action, either that's either a send WhatsApp message, not unless you're dealing with something. Shark's Grill. I don't know. Unless you're dealing with something that's a little bit more on an international level, you don't have to worry about the WhatsApp section with it. You can utilize the send message option, and then from there is you're going to do exactly what you just did with your Instagram post. So you're going to choose your audience through targeting based on your most idealistic demographic of your consumers of your product or service, and then next is you're going to create an audience. Within this option here where it says edit, this is where you're able to go in and plug in your infinity list of the 25 different brands. Or if you want with Facebook, you can actually go into people who like your page and their friends. If your page has roughly maybe 500 followers or page likes and up, I would recommend trying to do a boost or so with people who like your page and their friends, because the chances are maybe those people who like your content, maybe their friends might like their content too. So that's definitely not a bad option when doing any sort of boost. I would recommend doing that too as well. But that's pretty much it for the infinity list exercise. If anyone has any questions or wants to do like an in-depth analysis, or if someone's looking to do an ad, please feel free to send either Umberto or myself an email, and we can gladly walk you through the proper steps with that. So next, Umberto is going to take the reins right here on how to navigate the Facebook ad manager. And this is going to be super, super helpful when creating actual enticing ads too as well. So I'm going to pass things off to Umberto, and then we're going to leave a few minutes at the end of the webinar for any questions, comments, and then we'll be able to go from there.
Awesome. Thanks, Matt. So I'm going to take over just a little bit here, and we're going to do a little bit of sharing my screen where we'll go into my ads manager, where I've pulled up a previous client, and we're going to look through exactly what that interface looks like, right? So you'll have a little bit of results and statistics and analytics on the side. We'll have different campaigns we can look at, and some different stuff. So right now, this with the ad manager is where can we access it, what you should know, and what the metrics are telling you. So to access it, typically what we're going to want to do is go into the Facebook Business Manager. And I know this is a little bit confusing because sometimes you might accidentally press something and now you're in the back end of Facebook where you have this Business Manager and you're not sure how you got there. But a good shortcut as well is to just go onto Google and type in Facebook Ads Manager, and it will bring you directly to the Ads Manager where you can sign in with your Facebook and go straight into it. So if you're ever unsure of how to get to the ads manager from within your profile, a good way to get around that is searching it up directly in Google and pressing it there. So your ads manager is your starting point for running ads on Facebook, Instagram, Messenger, or the audience network. An audience network is typically other affiliated websites or pages that Facebook as a whole owns, and that your message will also get dispersed across these channels. And we're going to talk a little bit about managing it, where they'll run, and any tracking how well your campaign is performing, right? So I'm going to share my screen here, guys. Matt, can you just host me, please?
Yep.
Share. We're just going to do a little switcheroo here.
Yep.
Awesome. Okay. All right. So, can everyone see the screen here? I think we should be sharing. Yeah. Awesome. All right, guys. So this is what the back end of the Facebook Ads Manager is going to look like. Okay. So we have some different things going on here, and I'm going to break it down in some different steps. So we'll see that we're in the Business Manager here. We're using business tools, and if we press that, that will be the business home. But where we want to be is in this Ads Manager section here. So we can have different ads managers for different accounts, right? So you'll see if I drop this down quickly, I have different people that I've helped before and ran ads for. So you want to make sure that you're in the correct ad account, which will usually say your name or your business name up here. So once we get down towards here, we'll be under campaigns, the campaign tab. So there's 3 different tabs that we're going to be going through here. So the campaigns tab is the main hub for where you'll have different advertising campaigns that you've ran in the past. So the difference between a campaign and its ad sets is the campaign is the overall advertising rollout or advertising campaign that you're doing. And you can have different ad sets within the campaign. So say we were running a campaign for promoting a new meal we had, if we were Burger King, maybe, just giving an example. We might run 2 or 3 different ads promoting the same thing for the same campaign. So if it was a Whopper campaign, a Whopper burger, we might have one post or one ad set where a family is enjoying the burger and eating at home with it. Now, we also might have a separate ad set where a family is out at a park eating the burger, or it's just the burger itself, a close-up picture of the burger. So that's the same campaign. We're still promoting the same product, but the ads are different in what we're showing about that product. So when we're in campaigns here, and I'll mouse over down to some different campaigns we've ran in the past. These are all separate promotional activities that you might be running. So if you were running, maybe a floral market, for example, you might be running multiple different promotions at once, right? Because you're not just selling one type of flower, you're not just selling daisies or roses or whatever it might be. You're selling multiple different things, from planters to early seeded flowers to different arrangements, right? So we can imagine that you'll see different campaigns for different things you're running in your business. So if I'm going to press on one campaign here that I've ran, so this was a real estate example. And what this is here is an example of a business or a real estate business that was selling or advertising a home that was on the market. So once you've pressed on campaign, it'll bring you into ad sets. And your ad set is going to show you the different types of posts that you're advertising in that campaign, like I just mentioned. So your ad set is going to show you the ad itself, which includes the content, like we spoke of, so your photo, your picture, video, but also the different targeting that you've built into the ad. So your different demographics that you're going to be targeting for that specific ad, as well as where that ad is being placed. So that's called placements. And again, that was what we were looking at with Matt earlier on whether you're placing your ad just on Facebook or Instagram, or also those audience networks that I mentioned that can be different websites that Facebook will also show it off on. So once we press on the campaign here, it's going to bring us into the specific ad for that ad set, which is again going to be the photo or the different things that we were promoting for that ad. And once you press on, and I'll just show you here. So this was a a colleague of mine, Brad, that was promoting through Give Back Homes for a property that was for sale. So this is what the ad looks like. You know, you have your call to action here, which is watch more. You have your link, that is realtor.ca, where we were sending people. And then you also have your caption up here, right? So another thing that we have previously kind of touched on, but I'll elaborate a little bit more on, is where the caption comes into play. So we don't want to put all of this text in the caption on the actual photo or video, right? We want to use the caption to get our message across in pair and in tandem with the content or the photo or video itself. And then what you're going to be able to do is go back up here and see how your ad is performing. So I'll go back just to show you how we got here again, just so we can be very clear. I was in campaigns and I went to ad sets within the campaign, and we're under Walker, which was just the street name of the property we were looking at. And I'm gonna press on this here where it's displaying here. And when I get here, it's gonna show me some different things, right? So I'll adjust the time frame of the data I want to see here. So not to confuse anyone, the reason that it's not showing me any analytics here is because it's only showing me data for the range of the month, which has been since May 1st to May 19th. But this ad actually ran before this. So what I'm going to do is set a new time frame. And it's going to show me now the analytics for when this actually was running. So what we're gonna touch on now is the breaking down a little bit, just quickly, and we can expand on this one-on-one, guys. Again, we are so happy and eager to meet with all of you individually to get a little bit more into this. But for sake of time, I'm just gonna touch quickly on these. So what you're gonna see here is Facebook is gonna give you different metrics and statistics for each column here. So results isn't showing now because it's a thing of the past. This ad is already completed. But results is going to be subjective to what you choose as your goal for the campaign. So like Matt had mentioned, if you choose messages, like you're trying to garnish more messages, your results here is going to show you how many messages you've got from your campaign directly. For this campaign, it was landing page views. So we wanted people to go to the business page, the real estate page, and view our brand or our business. The next column here is reach. So reach is going to show you in total how many people saw your ad just by scrolling by it. So this is your total general reach and how many impressions it made on people's news feeds, where they actually scrolled by and they were posted this ad onto their news feed and they were seeing it. So frequency is just the same kind of idea as your reach, but it's breaking down in a ratio sense. So how many people that actually took a look at it in relation to how many people it was based on their newsfeed as a whole. So this shows about 1.63 per person we're seeing this ad. So this ad was shown about 1.5 times per person every time it was shown. So our cost per result, again, isn't going to be shown here just because this ad was ran in the past, but your cost per result is an important metric. It's going to show you how much you're paying per result for every result you're getting. So for example, if we were sticking with the messages idea, if we had a total budget of, I'll use the budget here, $77 on the entire campaign for 2 weeks we were running it. And say we got 20 messages in that time. The way that the cost per result is calculated, and almost over it here, is it's going to take your total spend and divide it by how many results you actually got. So in that case, if I use the metrics I just gave you, so $77 divided by 22 messages, our cost per result is going to be $3.50 per result, meaning that we paid $3.50 for every message that was sent to us. And this helps you kind of break down your ROI, right? Your return on your investment. So you get to know exactly how much you're getting from your spend and how that is looking when it translates to how many messages or how many landing page views or how many ads to carts you're getting, and how it's really how your investment is really being stretched for you. That amount spent, again, is just how much you have put in total from start to finish on your budget. And this here is showing when, typically it's going to show when your ad was scheduled to end. Now, this ad again has already concluded, so it's not going to show anything here, and it'll just show that it's ongoing because I've paused it and it's no longer running. These three metrics are very important kinds of styles to look at here. So Facebook kind of has its own AI generated, you can call it kind of like a relevance seeker or a assessor, if you will, for how well it thinks your ad is performing. So it's going to give you a quality ranking, and this is going to rank your ad's perceived quality. So how well it thinks that you've presented your ad and how well that you think for your demographic, this is going to perform. And it's going to either tell you something like below average, meaning that, you know what, in Facebook, in its bots, its AI's mind and the way that they assess and do a quality assessment, that, you know what, your ad is a little bit above average in comparison to what other people are running in your niche or your industry. Or it's going to say either average or above average, meaning that by its quality statistics, it's showing that you're doing a really good job. And the same thing is going for here, engagement rate ranking. So it's going to give you an average, or it's going to give you a rating saying below average or above average on how much engagement it thinks your ad should be getting based on your based on all of your ad criteria. So your targets, your content itself, and also your placements. And again, the same idea is going to be given to you for conversions. So are you getting below average conversions for what it thinks you should be getting? Are you getting average conversions or even above average for your performance within your industry? And this is the same idea as we discussed earlier, your cost per result. This is going to give you a cost per impression. So cost per every 1,000 impressions. So we were looking earlier that we were getting about 3,000 or 5,000 impressions on this ad, meaning that it was shown 5,000 times in the news feed or 5,000 times on Facebook. And it's going to break down your budget to give you a ratio of how much you're paying per 1,000 impressions. So if we were shown 5,000 times in the newsfeed, for example, it's going to show based on the $77 we spent on this ad that we were paying $14, about 15 bucks, we'll call it, per every 1,000 impressions. And this can kind of give you a better idea of when you're gauging your budget in the future after you spend one ad, you can kind of see how much you want to spend for a specific result. So if you're trying to get in front of 2,000 people, you know that you might want to spend $30 or somewhere in that ballpark to know. Link clicks is pretty self-explanatory. How many times that your call to action, the specific button, whether it was watch more, learn more, message now, was clicked itself. So this is going to show you how many times in total your result was actually clicked on and someone actually had real intention to see what you had to say and wanted to go into your call to action, whether it be a message or to your website or whatever it might be. The cost per link click is again a ratio that it's going to divide your overall budget divided by how many clicks you got on your link, and it's going to give you a cost per action or a cost per link click, a CPC. This is very important terminology that you'll kind of see a lot of the time, or maybe PPC, pay per click. And this is going to see exactly how much you're paying for every click, every result, every click through to your messaging or click through to your website that you're getting. Typically, we get this question a lot. What is a good average or what is a good cost per click? This ad was performing very well and it's under almost about 50 cents, but a good cost per click is anywhere under $1 usually. You're going to want to be in that under $1 to 90, 80, 70 cents range, and you know that your ad's performing pretty well and you're getting a good bang for your buck. If it's anywhere above $1 or $2, it's not to say that it might not be a good ad because this varies greatly on industries. So whether, you know, in real estate, people are shopping quite intentively, meaning they have pretty high purchasing intent and they're looking to buy something. They're there for a reason. They're looking for a home. They're interested in what they're seeing. If you're selling a t-shirt, on the other hand, this might not be as high because, you know, someone isn't always looking to buy clothes when they are presented with an ad on Facebook. They're just presented with that ad because they know that, you know, they're into a certain type of brand, but their purchasing intent isn't very high at this point, right? They're just kind of scrolling through. So you might not see this related back as your cost per click. You might not see that reflected in every industry. So another key metric here that we want to kind of draw some differences is the clicks in the all section. So all clicks. you might be confused here as what was the difference between link clicks at 143 or all clicks at 217. And I'll explain it now. So the number of clicks on your ad when it's the all section, all clicks, is any type of click activity that someone might have taken on the post. Now, that's not just the call to action being message me now or call me now, not just the button that's a call to action, but also maybe someone clicking directly on your Facebook name, which would not bring them to your call to action, but rather bring them to your Facebook page. So they might check you out a little bit first because they might not know who you are. They might be curious about your legitimacy. So they're going to go to your Facebook profile first and see what you're all about. This can also be pressing on the photo, so getting a closer view on the photo. Maybe your photo is smaller, has some text, and they want to get a better idea of what it's reading. They'll press on the photo itself and see that photo, and that's going to be reflected in your clicks as well here. So it's not just your link clicks, not just your call to action being clicked here, but also the post as a whole, how many times it's being interacted with. Again, your click-through rate is going to be a ratio that's given based on your overall spending and how long it's been live. So this one's given in a percentage form. So taking your overall spending, overall impressions and how many you're getting, and dividing that by how many clicks you're getting on that metric. So say it's going to be 5,000 impressions divided by all of your clicks, and it's going to give you a percentage rate. About 4.18% of people who saw your ad clicked through or took some type of clicking action.
Just wrap it up. A couple minutes left.
Yeah. Awesome. And again, guys, we're happy to expand on, there's a lot going on in the ads manager, and it's not something you'll learn in just 1 hour, but I just wanted to lay a little bit of a foundation and give you a brief overview on what all of these stats, all of these analytics, all of these metrics mean. So you kind of know what they're trying to tell you at this point, right? And I'm going to bounce back into the Zoom now, just so we can wrap up, and I'll stop sharing my screen here. Am I still sharing here? Not even sure.
No, you're good. Okay, well, awesome. Thank you guys so much. That concludes our digital literacy 101. Like I said, these will be posted through the City of Niagara Falls various social media platforms. When they do, you'll be notified through any of the platforms. You can check back to see when they will be publicized. Our emails are provided in the chat if anyone wants to schedule any sort of consultation with us at all in any way, shape, or form. And we just want to say thank you. Thank you for all for taking the initiative and learning and growing with us. And we hope that you found this webinar insightful, entertaining, and informative. So if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to Umberto and I. And thank you so much for an enjoyable digital literacy 101. And thank you so much. We will be in touch very soon. If anyone has any questions, please feel free to ask. We'll stay on for about another minute or so. Does anyone have any questions? Okay, well, that's that. So yeah, absolutely. Just yeah, we'll gladly keep in touch and follow the Niagara Falls Small Business Enterprise Center on Instagram, and we'll be sure to keep in touch shortly. So thank you all so much. Wishing you all a great day. Enjoy the sunshine, and we'll talk soon. Take care. Bye bye.